Good morning, Manitoba. I'm Larry McIntosh, and I'll be your host for the next hour and every Saturday morning from 8 to 9. Thanks for tuning in. I want to remind you that Peak of the Market has a Facebook page. Please find us and like us on Facebook. We currently have over 115,000 likes, and we'd love to have you join the group. We're updating our status regularly with news on our charity events and interesting veggie tidbits. So please find us and like us on Facebook. My guest this morning is Philip Houde, owner of River East Travel and Cruise Center. Good morning.
Good morning, Larry.
How are you doing today?
I'm great, doing great.
You're keeping warm in January here?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. We like the cold and travel anyways.
You do like the cold and travel.
We kind of like the cold, yeah.
So River East Travel and Cruise Center, you were on the show almost a year ago now, and you were just moving at the time.
That's right.
So I assume you've moved?
We moved February 3rd. We moved to our new office, 10411 Evergreen Place in Osborne Village.
All right, so those that know Osborne Village, which Shelley and I live pretty close to there. So Osborne Village, it's kind of little off Osborne, kind of one of those high rises, right?
That's right. It's the tower nearest the bridge, but you got to go down Roslyn and then turn on Evergreen Place. So
is this about the same size as your old location?
It's a little bit bigger. It's a little larger. It's more of an office environment versus we were in a mall before, so that was a little more of a retail environment.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're not open today, but you're open Monday to Friday. What are the hours?
9 o'clock till 5:30.
9 o'clock till 5:30. So for those that may not have visited, because you've been there a year, but I'm sure there's still some people that haven't come across you. It's just off Osborne Village, and you should come check you out on Monday.
Absolutely. Come and check us out.
So tell us a little bit about the travel business. How long have you been in the business?
Well, my wife and I, we bought River East Travel in 2002. The company had been around before that for a while. It was actually started in 1979. So this year we're actually celebrating, I guess, 13 years of owning River East Travel. I was just kind of doing that in my head here. So yeah, it's and it's changed a lot in 13 years. We used to be newbies, and now I guess we're not anymore. Still like to think of ourselves as newbies, but I guess we're sort of veterans now, I guess.
Well, as a travel agency, the business has changed certainly in the last 5-10 years. I don't know what that time frame is, but there used to be, and going back, aging myself, there used to be travel agents on almost every corner, every mall, everywhere. That industry's changed a lot, and some, like yourselves, have survived, but there isn't the same amount of players out there, is there?
No, there's a lot less what you would call bricks and mortar traditional travel agencies around, no question about it. There's been a tremendous amount of consolidation, really. A lot of smaller agencies have joined with larger agencies, have sold. There was a lot of mom and pop operations around there, and even when we were on Henderson Highway, I think at one time there was something like 7 travel agencies on Henderson Highway, and now I think there's only 2. So yeah, there's been a tremendous amount of consolidation.
So you look at travel agency, and the internet's come along for many, many years, and you can do almost anything on the internet as far as travel. So you must bring something additional to booking travel.
Well, absolutely, and for us, we get that question a lot.
Sure.
How has the internet affected the travel industry? The internet, we look at it as a communication tool. What used to be done by phone, what used to be done by snail mail, is now done via the internet. So it's really only a communication tool. So if you're planning or looking at travel options on the internet, you're oftentimes looking at another travel agency someplace in the world, or perhaps directly with an airline or a cruise line or something like that. But at the end of the day, it's just a tool to be able to communicate and to be able to research information. It's actually made the world smaller, a lot smaller, and it's actually helped us do our job a lot better.
So you're looking at it as a positive?
Oh, that's absolutely a positive. I think you get into the travel industry because you like to travel and because you think travel's a worthwhile thing. And the internet's helped people travel better than ever and further than ever. Things that 5 or 10 years ago someone might have thought were unachievable are achievable. So I think the internet's had a positive impact on the ability of Canadians to travel the world.
There's certainly no question that you can go on the internet and find out about whether it's resorts or cities or all sorts of things, and that must help people decide that they'd like to go to a certain area before they call you.
It absolutely does. A lot of people like to go on and just spend hours researching, and it's good because it provides them with a basis of information before they even come and talk to us in a lot of cases. But of course, at the end of the day, the internet's one-dimensional. It's a flat screen, and the photos that you're seeing at the resort are the photos that the resort wants you to see. And of course, you can go on review sites, and we do recommend that as well. But at the end of the day, You want to validate the information from more than just one source, and you want to validate it from more than just looking on the internet.
Well, and I read not too long ago, just before Christmas, about there's companies out there now that go on sites and give good reviews for companies. That companies can hire them to give good reviews. So you want that's another piece of information, but you also want to talk to people that have been there or know people that have been there, or you can get source proper information too, I would think.
There's no question that there's been, almost, if you want to call it a scandal in the hotel industry, where hotels have gotten, sort of their hands slapped by going on to some of these review sites, or their employees have, and posting positive reviews about the resort. So there is that does happen, and there are people, as you said, third parties that are now getting paid to do that sort of thing. So they're trying to make it a little more arm's length, but it's still not a very fair and impartial review. So, yeah, you have to be aware of that. I mean, at the end of the day, if you look at the relationship that you have with your travel consultant or your travel agency, we're on your side. So we work for you. There's nothing in it for us to make something look better than what it is, because you're just going to come back and say, hey, you sold me a bill of goods.
Right.
So we're on the same side of the table with you, and we work together to make sure what you're trying to do is achievable. What you're trying to do works out really well. I mean, that's in our best interest, because we want you to come back and rave about us and tell your friends.
Well, and I remember Shelley and I booked a trip with Sandals with you a few years back, and I remember you guys had been there. You knew that. You knew the best place was go to the left on the beach when you got there. Those are kind of neat little things that, if you've actually been there, and you can't possibly be everywhere in the world, but knowing someone or someone in your agency that you can get credible information is helpful for a traveler and makes your trip that much better.
Absolutely. I mean, you're right. We can't have everybody everywhere in the world, but I can have somebody at an airport in Paris who will meet you when you get off the plane and greet you by name and say, Philip sent me. And I can do that in a lot of places around the world. So that's stuff we can do because of the internet, because of being able to communicate.
We'll be right back with Philip Houde, owner of River East Travel and Cruise Center, after we take this break for your CJOB weather update. Welcome back to Food and Friends. I hope you've had an opportunity to see our new bright and colorful potato and onion bags at your favorite store. Peak of the Market's new Sesame Street potato and onion bags feature Elmo, Bert, Grover, Oscar, Abby Kadabi, Rosetta, Cookie Monster, Big Bird, and Ernie. 9 different Sesame Street characters. Along with the characters, you'll still see the Peak of the Market logo, so you're guaranteed it is grown right here in Manitoba. We're very pleased with our partnership with Sesame Street on the Eat Brighter program, and we hope you like it too. We're back with Philip Houde, owner of River East Travel and Cruise Center. So, favorite Sesame Street character?
I think Big Bird.
Big Bird? Yeah, that's kind of our generation, though, is Big Bird.
Big Bird's a cool guy.
Yeah, he's cool.
If you stay at beaches, resorts, they actually have the Sesame Street characters as well. So
that's right.
They walk around the resort, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a family resort, and they've got a nice partnership, and I think they've had it for quite a few years now.
Quite a few years, probably pushing 10 years, I would think. Yeah.
Well, there you go. So we were just talking off air. You brought this amazing offer in, and I'm going to share with our listeners. If anybody goes and sees you by the end of February, anybody at your travel agency, and say they heard you on Food and Friends, you're going to offer them a $50 travel voucher for booking a trip?
Absolutely.
So how does that work? Just say they heard you on Food and Friends?
Yeah, just come in and say you heard us on the show, heard myself on the show with Larry and with yourself, and we'll give you a voucher. Yeah.
$50.
$50.
Fantastic.
And you can use it for any kind of travel product, obviously with us, but any travel product that anybody wants to use it for.
Well, that's fantastic. So that's open. Normally we have draws for things like that, but that's open to anybody in the next month, the end of February, that comes to see you or comes to the agency and says they heard you on Food and Friends.
Absolutely. That's all they have to do is say they heard me on Food and Friends.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So talking about travel, so you do a lot of specialty travel. Would that be the words? I know you've done a military travel and.
Yeah, we're doing more and more of that. It's both. It's a niche, of course, but it's also a demand. I mean, people are looking for experiences. They're looking for experiences that are different. So, in that vein, we're starting to do some really cool stuff. We've done some military tours. I've done a couple in the past. We got one coming up in April to Holland, and it's very in depth, very. Retracing the steps of Canadian soldiers in World War II, and it's an extremely personal type trip. So those are things that they don't come off the shelf. I mean, there's nothing like that in any book. Got some other cool stuff. We've got a Middle Earth Hobbit tour coming up. You can, New Zealand, so you can.
Beautiful place.
Oh, gorgeous place. You go to New Zealand and tour the movie sets where they film the movies, Lord of the Ring movies, and tour Hobbiton and see where the hobbits live and that sort of thing. So that's a totally unique type travel and something that you're not going to get off the shelf either.
So those are those type of packages, and I know you've had cooking packages, and there's all different things you do. But you also do the traditional, go to the beach for a week or whatever too, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, some people just need that week off or 2 weeks off, and they just want to go down to Mexico or Jamaica or someplace like that and just relax on the beach, and we certainly do that sort of thing as well.
So do you actually go sit on the beach for a week? Is that you?
Well, I'm going to, this year is the first year that we've done it in a while that I'm actually just coming back from being down in Mexico for 2 weeks. So that's I haven't done that in 5 years, but we'll go down with a great group of people, and spend some time in Ixtapa this year.
Oh, yeah?
So, yeah. So, I don't all sit on the beach the whole time, but, do sit there a little bit.
And there's different kinds of travel depending on the individual. So Shelley and I like to sit on a beach for a week or two because we're so busy during the week. I just love to look at the ocean, read a book, whatever. And there's other people that can't possibly sit that. They want to do tours. They wanted to go zip lining or whatever it is. So how do you determine what kind of trip they want to go on?
That's a good question. I mean, it's a consultation process. I mean, we have to sit down with you and ask you a lot of questions. And sometimes they sound like they're kind of a dumb question. One of the first questions we should ask is, why do you want to go there? And some people are taken aback by that question. They come in and say that they want to go to Puerto Vallarta. I want to go to Puerto Vallarta. Well, we need to understand why you want to go to Puerto Vallarta. And the reason we need to understand it is because then we can figure out where you should stay in Puerto Vallarta. We may find out Puerto Vallarta is not where you want to go. You may have been sitting in your dentist's office and saw a poster on the wall and it said Puerto Vallarta, and you saw somebody snorkeling, and you love snorkeling, so you said, I want to go snorkeling in Puerto Vallarta. If snorkeling is important to you, Puerto Vallarta is not the place. And the only way we find that out is by asking you, why are you going to Puerto Vallarta? If we don't do that, we send you to Puerto Vallarta, you go out to do some snorkeling, the water's not that clear, and you come back disappointed. So we can't be order takers. We have to be, we have to be like the doctor or the mechanic, whoever, a professional that sits down with you and asks you a bunch of questions, figure out to diagnose the need of what you're looking for and what you want to get out of your travel.
And we have friends that one loves to sit on the beach for the week and the other wants to be busy all the time. How do you do that?
Oftentimes you get that, and you can structure things like if you are going to Mexico, there are places where there's a lot of tours off the resort. So for somebody who wants to be busy every single day, they can leave the resort and go do these tours. And the other couple or the other friends, they can just sit on the beach, because the beach will be there as well. So it actually can be, it absolutely can be accommodated.
We have friends that are golfers, so we sit on the beach and they go golfing. That works out perfectly because we're not golfers.
Absolutely.
So you're flexible. You can look at the world and decide where you would recommend people go.
Yeah, I mean that's our job. I mean our job is to, as I said earlier, we're on your side, so it's in our best interest that you have the best trip possible. So we need to understand why you want to travel and where you want to go and why you want to go there.
We'll be right back with Philip Houde, owner of River East Travel and Cruise Center, after we take this break. Welcome back to Food and Friends. It's time for a recipe segment called Now We're Cooking. You don't need to write this recipe down, as it is today's recipe of the day at peakmarket.com and now in the Winnipeg Free Press. Today's recipe is zucchini slaw. Zucchini slaw. Here's what you need for the recipe. 1.5 pounds of medium zucchini grated, 2 teaspoons of salt, 1 large carrot grated. For best results, use Manitoba-grown carrots, 1 red pepper julienned, 1 red onion thinly sliced, 1 stalk of celery julienned, 2 tablespoons of each parsley and dill, both chopped. And then for the dressing, 3/4 cup of mayonnaise, 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard, 2 tablespoons of red wine vinaigrette, 1 tablespoon of olive oil, 1 tablespoon of liquid honey, and 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. Combine the zucchini and salt and toss well. Place in a colander and let stand for 30 minutes. Then rinse under cold water, drain, and squeeze out the excess moisture. Place the zucchini in a bowl. Then add the carrot, pepper, onion, and celery and toss well. Sprinkle with parsley and dill. And then for the dressing, combine the mayonnaise, mustard, vinegar, oil, honey, and pepper. Then stir into the zucchini mixture. Taste and adjust the seasoning if necessary. And this recipe serves 6. Again, it's today's recipe of the day at peakmarket.com and now in the Winnipeg Free Press. We'll be right back with Philip Houde, owner of the River East Travel and Cruise Center, after we take this break. Welcome back to Food and Friends. Food and Friends Radio is on TV. Each radio show is filmed and will be posted on Mytoba.ca tomorrow. So if you want to see the TV version of this or previous radio shows, please visit Mytoba.ca. Thanks to 680 CJOB's Nicole, who produces our show, and Riley, who operates the camera, as well as the teachers of the Broadcasting and Media Arts program at TechVoc High School. You can also listen to an audio podcast of Food and Friends at SoundCloud.com and at the iTunes Store. So please just do a search for Food and Friends with Larry at Mytoba.ca, SoundCloud.com, or at the iTunes Store, and all the shows will come up for your listening or viewing pleasure. And it's very important for you to mention that Food and Friends is only available because of 680 CJOB and its advertisers. So please make sure you tune in to 680 CJOB or listen live at cjob.com. We're back with Philip Houde, owner of River East Travel and Cruise Center. Now, you obviously knew we were going to be on TV today because you wore a suit jacket on a Saturday, so you were ready for the TV version of this.
Yeah, well, you want to look the part.
Want to look the part. So, firstly, you moved about a year ago. Your new location, for anybody that might not know?
It's at 11 Evergreen Place, Suite 104. So that's the big building right by the Osborne Bridge, just south of the Osborne Bridge.
Monday to Friday, you're open 9 to 5:30?
9 to 5:30, correct.
And we said in the last half hour, but in case you didn't get it, if you're thinking of booking travel, if you go into River East Travel by the end of February, say you've heard Philip on Food and Friends, you will get a $50 travel voucher, which is unbelievable. Everybody that comes in and says that will get a $50 travel voucher.
$50 travel voucher, and you can use it towards any travel product you wish.
That's fantastic. So, new location, check it out. We were talking off air about trends. What are the trends in travel these days?
I think the trends are people are looking to immerse themselves in things. They're looking for experiences that are of a considerable depth. One of the things we did just this past year, so 2014, was we had a cruise, an Oceania cruise with a chef, a Canadian chef by the name of Christine Cushing. And when you traveled, on this cruise, you traveled, Christine. She was with you every day, and so she would. When you get to port, a Greek port, they go into the market and they would pick out ingredients. So this kind of fits well with what you do, Larry. But they go into the market and they pick out fresh ingredients, fresh vegetables, local and ingredients. They come back to the ship, and she shows them how to make a meal, a traditional Greek meal or a traditional Italian meal with the stuff that they picked up in the port. And so you get your hands in there and you actually do all the chopping and all the cooking and all the mixing and everything like that. That's what people are looking for. They're not looking to sit in a chair and watch somebody else do it. They want to get up there and work the knife and work everything else, and they want to immerse themselves in whatever it is.
Are you seeing, is it more couples traveling? Is it more families traveling? Has it changed much over the years? Or?
There's a lot of family travel happening. It's multi-generational travel. You've got grandparents taking their adult children, taking their grandkids, and so 3 generations traveling. A lot of times they say that when they travel like that, they spend more time together as a family unit they do when they're here, living in the same city or living in the same province, even in the same house. When you're traveling together like that as a family, there's less distractions. A lot of times the cell phones don't work. So they sit around, and sometimes we've had people say that sometimes they have the first meal in a long time where everybody is at the table and actually focusing on the conversation. Mm-hmm. So we see a lot of that, and it's extremely rewarding. The destination isn't as important as bringing everybody together.
And I can see that, right? Everybody commits the time. You're off in their place. You're out of your day-to-day busy lives, and you're committing to be there as a family.
Absolutely. And I think that's what we're all finding. I mean, it seems like everybody's getting busier and busier, and we lose track. A week goes by, a month goes by, a year goes by, 5 years go by, and the next thing you know, where did the time go? When you slow down and you take a trip like that, it forces you to all be together and to actually really appreciate each other and spend some time with each other, some quality time.
Are you seeing a lot of weddings, destination weddings?
Destination weddings are still huge.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them happening. Mexico, Jamaica, Dominican Republic, that sort of thing. Sometimes it's a small group. Sometimes they're large. You can have groups of 50, 60, 80 people that are going down. So it's a great alternative to a traditional wedding. I know bride and grooms really like it because a lot of times the guests are paying for themselves. So if they're putting a wedding on here, it can be very expensive as well.
Right.
But when you go do it down there, a lot of times the guests are having to pay for themselves, and sometimes not everybody comes, and so I think sometimes they're happy. Certain people come and certain people don't, so it works out.
So what's your favorite trip you've done? You've done a lot of traveling over the years. What's your favorite?
I guess I couldn't really say I have one favorite
Well,
trip.
you have to. I just asked the question, so you got to narrow it down to one. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's about experiences, right?
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you don't know when you set out that this is going to be your favorite experience, and a lot of times it's interactions with people. You set off on what seems like a fairly ordinary or predictable path on a trip, and you end up meeting some people that are extremely special. We did this military tour in 2011 to Holland. That was really, really something to go with World War II vet from Manitoba, and to go over there with some current soldiers, young soldiers, and some retired soldiers, and actually spend some time seeing it through their eyes and interacting with people who were impacted by World War II, who would come forward, and we would have social functions with them. We tour the military cemeteries and just talk to people who were putting flowers on graves. That was really special. We did again in 2014, 70th anniversary of D-Day. So went over to Normandy and we're on the Canadian beaches where the Canadians came ashore 70 years ago. We were there to the day that it happened. So that was pretty special to see all of that. I mean, you've seen it on in black and white movies. You've heard stories of it, but to actually stand there and to feel the presence of what has happened there, powerful stuff. So it's hard to say there's one trip that's better than another, but it's the experiences that you remember.
We'll be right back with Philip Houde, owner of River East Travel and Cruise Center, after we take this break. Welcome back to Food and Friends. Peak of the Market is on Twitter. Follow us at Peak of the Market for recipes and Food and Friends guest updates. We have over 120,000 Twitter followers, and we'd love to have you follow us too. Again, we're at Peak of the Market, or you can follow me at Larry McIntosh. We're back with Philip Houde, owner of River East Travel and Cruise Center. Now, I get your newsletter that comes out by email. One of your co-workers went to Tahiti back in December, was it?
Yeah, we sent Lisa to Tahiti.
Tahiti?
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, it was an awesome trip for her.
It's an awesome trip for anybody.
Well, it's an awesome. Yeah, I would have liked to have gone. Why am I sending? Why don't I go? No, Lisa's got an interest in Tahiti, and there is a tremendous interest from people to go there. So it's important that somebody in our shop has been down to that part of the world. And this is an educational tour. I mean, she didn't go down there and lay on the beach. They were very busy. I mean, they were touring the islands. They were touring the resorts. They were looking at rooms, looking at beaches. They unfortunately had to go out snorkel, and they had to go out and do things like that and try different food. But it's important to have that sort of expertise in your office. So if somebody comes in and wants to know about that part of the world, we can sit them down with Lisa, and she can tell them all about her experiences and make some recommendations in terms of what's best for the client.
Now, is Tahiti the place that has? I've seen pictures of the rooms that are over the water.
Yes.
And you have like glass floors or something.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
It is cool. You can see the fish swimming underneath your hut, and I call it a hut. It's not really a hut. I mean, they're pretty amazing. But yeah, Tahiti's and if for people who are history buffs, Mutiny on the Bounty and the movies and that sort of thing. There's all that history there too as well. It's quite interesting.
Now, in your name it says Cruise Center, so you must do cruises as well as I assume.
Yeah, for sure. We do a fair bit of cruising. We actually have a really neat opportunity coming up this year, September 22nd. My wife Michelle and I were escorting a cruise that's starting in Rome and ending up in Istanbul, Turkey. And in between there, we'll be stopping at a bunch of places in Italy, a bunch of ports, a few ports in Greece, and a few ports in Turkey. And
wow,
yeah, it's looking forward to it. It's going to be with a really good cruise line, Oceania. So we know that the food's going to be outstanding, and food's always important when you're traveling, but the experience will be great. So we're looking for anybody interested in traveling in that part of the world and joining us are welcome.
So that's in September.
September 22nd we leave, yes.
And as we said, if you tell Phil that you heard him on Food and Friends, there's a $50 travel voucher for that or any other travel you book through River East Travel and Cruise Center. So that's good to know. They save $50 right there if they book it.
Absolutely.
By the end of February.
Yeah.
So this cruise line that you're going on, you're escorting that. Do you do a lot of that?
We're doing more of it. We should do more of it. I mean, there's a demand. I escorted the military tours, a couple of them, and I know that the people that are on the tour really appreciate it to have you along. If there's minor glitches or major glitches, you're there. You can sort them all out. So yeah, we want to do more of it. We do, as I said, we just came back from Mexico and we escorted a group down there, and we do that once a year. So we're looking for more of these opportunities.
So the upside to it as a traveler is you're right there. So if there's an issue that can be resolved quickly because you know who to call or talk to. The downside is it takes you both out of the office for a while, and that's got to affect your business as well, though, right?
Yeah, of course there's a balance. Yes, you can't always be out of the office. You actually have to be there to run it once in a while.
How many coworkers do you have with you there?
Well, right now we're sitting at, I believe we're at six people right now.
6 people?
Yeah.
So all from the travel industry?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Is it hard to find people in the travel industry now? Or
It's very hard. Yes, it is. It's difficult. The average travel consultants, starting the average age is starting to get up there, and we don't have enough people coming in, and it takes a long time to learn the trade. I mean, it's not something where you can just go to school for 10 months and then sit yourself down and be an expert. The expertise takes years to develop. So, not a lot of people are interested in putting that amount of time in order to become an expert. So we are really looking for right now people that want to join a great company and want to be a travel consultant, and we're looking for the best, of course.
So does everybody get to go to Tahiti or?
Well, they might go to Tahiti.
I'm just thinking of applying.
Absolutely. I mean, it could be Galapagos. It could be Tahiti. It could be who knows. The thing about travel is that everybody has oftentimes you find somebody has a passion for a different part of the world. So you're always successful when you follow your passion. So if you're passionate about Tahiti, or if you're passionate about adventure travel or food and wine travel, that's what you should really specialize in, and you're going to be good at it. So if somebody's really interested in food and wine and they want to be a travel consultant, they may specialize in food and wine tours.
So if someone's looking at booking a trip, what's your 3 tips that you would give them to what to look for, what to do?
Well, it's good to do your research online, but it's also good to get in and talk to somebody that's been there. So always remember that whatever you read on the internet may not be true, and not only is your money important, but your time. And we talked about that earlier about the multi-generational travel. It takes a long time to be able to put all the schedules together where people can travel, and so it's the investment and the value of that. You don't want to take it lightly. So make sure you know who you're dealing with. Make sure you check their credentials out, and don't just send a wad of money to somebody who's in another part of the world without knowing who that is.
Mm-hmm. Travel insurance is important, I assume?
Travel insurance is always important. I mean, the stories you hear about people having issues with insurance, 9 times out of 10 they can be prevented by be properly insured. Everybody's got credit cards in their wallet or their purse, and some of them say that they carry travel insurance. Some of those credit cards, a lot of times it's sorely lacking, and people will go away thinking I'm insured, and in fact they're not. And that's another area we can help you with, because we know travel insurance. We know what you're covered for. We know policies. We carry it in